What's up, V3 community? As we know, basketball season has ended. We're in the playoff time now, and as we await for the state playoff season, in which we'll be back with another Wisconsin State preview, I'm going to go solo, but not really solo. The kind of solo that I bring ideas from other coaches. And I've talked to some amazing coaches in the last 18 months, some of the best I could find, whether it's high school, whether they're in the college ranks, they're in the system somewhere from across the country, Florida, Arkansas, Carolinas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. I've gotten to talk to some of the best there is out there. And it's been an awesome experience for me because I've learned so much. It's interesting because when I was coaching, I thought I had all the answers. Turns out I don't. Shocker. But today, I'm ready to plant 5 flags on concepts in high school sports. These are things that I've thought about for a while. I've talked to these awesome coaches about. I've gathered all information, whether they're for or against these things, and I'm ready to make a decision. And ironically, the first 2 things are kind of a decision. Number 1, club sports are a net neutral. I've been on both ends of the spectrum heavily. I've been on, you have to play club sports, you have to stay involved outside your season, you owe it to yourself to progress through high competition. I thought it was a good solution to kids becoming lethargic in the video game era, where if you weren't going to go play at a park, go play a club. Then I became a parent and I started working in ministry, and I saw how much of a toll club sports were taking on families. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. So I swung all the way to the other end of the spectrum to a point where I was anti-club sports. But the problem with that is I know some awesome guys that are leading club programs as coaches or administrators. So I've been on a mission the last 18 months to find out, are club sports good or are they not? So let's just take AAU basketball, for example. Is being involved in basketball season outside of your high school season in the spring and most of the summer, traveling on weekends, is it a good idea? And where I'm ready to plant my flag is it's a net neutral. I know it's a coward's way out, but hear me out. I don't think it's either definitely good or definitely bad, because I know fantastic AAU programs that do it the right way and kids progress and they get a great experience. I know bad AAU programs that are essentially a money grab. There's no other way around it. It's a money grab. Now, let's go back to the beginning of what club basketball was supposed to be about in club sports, because this is not just basketball, it's club sports. It was for recruitable players to get exposure. So you are a college level athlete and you need more exposure outside your high school season because maybe you don't play in a place that's heavily recruited. Maybe your high school team isn't very good, so you're not having college coaches come your way and you need to show off a certain skill set. Maybe you're stuck at a certain position in your high school team and you need to expand upon that and show what you have at other positions. That's what club sports was intentionally for at its inception, to display talent that is going to be in college. That's what it was for. It then became an extra way to improve and compete, which also is not innately bad. So essentially, it was highest level. Now it's a medium level. Hey, if you want to compete, you want to play with some better players, you want to grow your game, this is a good option for you. It's going to be expensive, but it's a good option for you. And then it swung all the way to you either have to do it or you're behind, which is a lie. I've coached great players in high school that didn't play club sports. I've coached great players in high school that played club sports. The fact they played the club sport was not the indicator of success. All the club sport did for them was give them a platform to either show off their work ethic or coast. Like whatever your work ethic was before doing the club sport is what magnified the result. And that's just the facts. So you could do a whole club season and not get any better. You could do a whole club season and get a lot better because you're a hard worker. And you probably would have gotten better if you hadn't played, to be honest. You could have gone to an empty gym every single day and worked on your game, shot a few hundred shots a day, worked out, exercised, all those things, leadership training, and you would have been fine. But the club sport did help you, which is okay. It is completely fine to acknowledge that. But Here's a distinguisher. It can be good if you're recruitable, if there's a smart schedule, so you're not traveling to Abu Dhabi to play on a weekend, that you could play an hour drive away, and they're good practices. That's not like disorganized or teaching you things that don't really matter, and it's a good use of your time. It can be bad if you have a bad coach running bad stuff. And I mean, bad coaches exist everywhere: youth sports, middle school sports, high school sports, everywhere. So it's not a solo club sport thing that they deal with. But I think more common than not, dare I say, to have a bad coach in club sports than in a high school sport, because the weeding out process in high schools is much more intensive. Basically, if you know the right person, or you're willing to just spend a crap ton of time coaching basketball, you can get a job as a club coach. I, I'm sorry, I hope that's not offensive. The second thing, it can be bad if it dominates your calendar. So if you're gone all the time and you have no room for anything else in your life, family, friends, work, school, church, all those things, then it's not good. You shouldn't sell your childhood to play a club sport. Lastly, if you're not playing, it's preposterous. If you're not seeing minutes on this sport, and I know it happens because there's 12 players on a basketball team, and really 8 are getting significant minutes, and then 10 would kind of get minutes. There's 2 guys that, what are you doing playing a club sport? You are significantly better off taking your ball, going to a YMCA, going to your local high school, going to a park, and shooting for a few hours a day. Significantly better. I can't fathom paying several $1,000s, traveling many weekends, giving up weeknights to sit on a bench. That is ludicrous. So if that's you, don't do it. Don't do it. Now, what's the resolution here? I think it's finding a way to get back into your playing if you're recruitable. I think if you're not recruitable, you're not a college level athlete, get with your local high school, get into a gym and shoot. I think about it this way. Let's pretend you go to Florida for a basketball game from Illinois. So you're traveling a long way and you're not a great player. You're fine. And you shoot 10 times an entire weekend. That would be like a role player. Let's say you're 7, 8, 9 on the roster. You're telling me those 7 shots, those 8, 10, 12 shots, whatever it is worth all that when you could put in significantly more work just getting shots up in a gym. I may sound like I'm painting it to be a bad thing, but I'm serious. There are some good things too, especially with recruiting the way it is now, because college coaches have to recruit their, they have to recruit other college players because of the transfer portal now. So during the season, college coaches are mostly recruiting and kind of picking at other college players, and then the high school players, because the college players are a known commodity. It's a sure thing. I seen that kid produce in college. I want him. High school players are more up in the air. So they're going to stick with, I'm going to go to the college kids first. So because of that, they're not seeing you during your season. So they may have to see you during the off season, during club, during AAU, during all those things. So it's really important to understand that it might be necessary. It probably is necessary if you're a college level athlete. Flag to plant number 2. And I'm so sorry to do this. You're probably like, what is he doing? You're wasting my time. Training, professional training outside of your sports league is a net neutral. I'm not going to do this for all 5. This is just the 2, I promise. But hear me out. Again, I used to be hard anti-training. I used to be, don't do it. It is a gigantic waste of money. You can get better shooting with your dad, shooting with your friends, practicing, playing 21 in the park, playing with your local high school. You don't need to pay for training. Then I had a fantastic experience with a trainer. I had a few of my players get trained by the same guy locally in Southeast Wisconsin. He's fantastic. He'd text me and he'd say, hey, coach, what offense are you planning on running next year? I'm going to start working integrating those skills so that they're practicing things that are going to help them in their season, not just for them to get better, but they're going to help you in your offense. And I thought that was fantastic. And it became a partnership where I'd recommend people that would that wanted training. I'd say, go to this guy. He's doing it the right way. He's got integrity. He's not doing a money grab. He's training them for what they'll need for high school. And we had a symbiotic relationship. And I noticed he went to a lot of their games. Which I was like, okay, this guy really cares. So I used to be very anti-training. I'm kind of neutral because again, like club sports, there's good and there's bad, but it's just much more volatile than high school coaching. The one time I saw a trainer online post a video of a Hot Wheel ramp, and the player had to start dribbling a basketball as the Hot Wheel went down. This sounds so crazy to even say. I can't believe he did this. He had to dribble down as the car went down the ramp, and he had to get to the bottom of the ramp and grab the Hot Wheel and shoot a layup. It's like, I don't know what they were working on, getting low speed layups. I've seen keeping a balloon in the air while dribbling. That should never happen. That should never happen. You are literally just screaming to the world, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm going to make a cool social media type of atmosphere, which helps nobody. If you have a game at the end of your training where you're playing with balloons or something, and that's just literally just a fun game as you close out, whatever. But if you have those gimmicks, I don't know what to tell you. It's not worth it. So if a trainer cares, he collaborates with the coach, he watches your games, he teaches life. That's fantastic. If the trainer's doing weird drills, he's teaching you non-transferable skills. So in basketball, it's like the 6 dribble moves. I remember asking a kid, how many times have you done that in a game in your career? He said, I don't know. I said, you've never done that in a game in your entire career. So why are you working on that? The trainer never checks in. He does group training. I've seen that, but it's still at high rates. If you're doing training with a group, it should be relatively cheap because otherwise you can just get that same group of kids and go to your park and play and do the same things. So I would just be weary of that. But again, training net neutral. All right, no more net neutrals. Flag planted. That seems like an oxymoron. Next one, number 3. Coaches that care about the process achieve more success and more happiness than any other indicator in sports. So I've talked to a ton of coaches. I've talked to discontent coaches, content coaches, successful coaches, unsuccessful coaches, happy coaches, sad coaches. The number one indicator of happiness and success is the coach that cares about the process first. So this coach is not so focused on winning and winning only that their entire mood depends on what the scoreboard says. It doesn't mean you accept defeat and you're like, I don't care if I win or lose. No, but you have a realistic expectation of your team to where if you have a terrible team and you're focused on, I just want to improve, I want to get better, I want to focus on the process, your career is going to last a long time and you're going to be happy. You're not going to be happy about losing, but you know what I'm talking about. You'll be happy with the work that was put in because you have perspective. That coaches like me that were more focused on the scoreboard for most of the career leads to anger, disappointment, blame, deflection, and early exits. Because coaches are exiting right now at a faster rate than ever. And I think the next flag I'm planting will address that. But the coaches that say, Hunter, I know that if I put the work in, I watched the film, I prepared, I gave it my all in practice, I've led the right way with integrity, and we went out there and we played hard and we lost, and that's all I can do about it, and I'm fine. I'm so jealous of you, of that coach, because it didn't matter if I did it the right way or not. If I lost, I was a sour baby about it. And I didn't last super long. Just facts are facts. Got to be able to acknowledge the truth. The coaches that care about the process, did I just do the best I can with what I was given? Did I have integrity? Did I work hard? Did I invest in the kids? And if I can say yes to those things, I'm sleeping at night. I'm going to have a long and successful career. 100%. The number one indicator for long-term success and happiness is coach that cares about the process. Let's go to the flip side now. I mentioned coaches leaving the career at a higher rate than ever. The number one indicator of coach that leaves early are parents' refusal to accept a role. Number one, it's not the money. It's not the time being put in. It's not losing in large quantities. Those are all things that can cause someone to eventually leave. But the number one indicator of a coach who leaves early is a coach who is in a community of parents who won't accept a role. And it's a larger indicator of societal problems at large. We think that we are owed something that we're not. And because of litigiousness, because of weak backbones, all these things. Administrators now are scared to address those things, so they're allowing it to happen more and more because this has always happened. But now administrators are kind of standing in the way, going, man, this may not be worth it. Can we just appease them? I, it, it's an obvious one, but let me talk more about it. We've confused the word equity and equality. The biggest buzzword, I think, in humanity in the 2020s is equality and anxiety. And the problem with that is in sports, equality is not the goal. Equity is the goal. Equity is you get what you've deserved, you get what you've earned. Equality is we all get the same thing. So when I had a parent that was upset about playing time, and I would say the fair thing is not that your son plays as much as the other kid. The fair thing is he doesn't play at all because he did not put nearly as much work in. When your son was at the beach all summer, this kid was at the gym all summer. When your son was messing around the gym, being funny guy, he was grinding out every single drill and he left completely drenched in sweat. And your son left as funny guy. The problem is you're expecting equality because that's the buzzword of this country. But the expectation is equity. You've gotten what you've put in. That's the only thing that's fair. Had a few experiences with it myself. My first year coaching, new community, I decided to play a bunch of sophomores, some freshmen that didn't sit well with the senior, junior parents. They thought, I've put in my time. I had one dad come in before practice and he said something about, my son only plays at the end of the game with all the fat kids. And I was like, that's really disrespectful, number one. And he goes, how is he supposed to show you how good he is when he's playing with those kids? I said, sir, there's a reason he's playing in the same group. It's because they're all the same skill level. I can assure you of that. And he just starts yelling at me. He says, Coach, you have no idea how much money I've given the school. I said, that's right, I don't. I turned around and walked away. Another instance is another kid that literally during practice, I would yell at because he'd shoot his free throws granny style. That's the amount of work ethic he was putting at the time. After a game, his dad walks up to me, throws a business card at my chest and says, call me. I walk into the locker room, find that kid. I say, you better talk to your dad. Because if I do, it's not going to end well. So you talk to him. You tell him what I've told you, the things that you're doing to not allow you to play. And then if that doesn't go well, I'll talk to him. But you fix this. Luckily, at the time, I had administrators that weren't afraid. As time went on, that changed a little bit. But ultimately, the number one reason we have coaches leaving in the middle of seasons now, that used to never happen. It happened in Wisconsin. There's several that I can think of this year of good coaches, good programs. Parents' refusal to accept a role. Number 5, I've wondered a lot about what's the future of sports because the future's always looks ways different than the present. And we get to it like, no one would have guessed this. So I've started thinking about like, what is the thing nobody would have guessed? So like 5-10 years from now, we're in the weeds of it and we're like, man, no one saw this coming. And I've asked a lot of coaches that same question. I think some things are up in the air, like the way high school sports are covered. I think coverage companies are going to get better at it. I think they're going to treat it more like college sports. And eventually we're going to have the highlights, the player interviews, all those things. I think it's going to be really good. But the number one thing I'm thinking, and most high school coaches believe, is that the future of sports is more specialization. So we've always said, play as many sports as you can, be well-rounded. And more, some rotten apples have gotten involved. They've told kids you have to specialize. I had a kid playing basketball for me and he played club soccer and the club soccer coach called a timeout and started yelling at him about if you would have been involved all year instead of playing basketball, we wouldn't be in this position, which is probably the number one most frustrating thing I've heard in my entire year as a coach. That's happening more and more. That is happening more and more. But now we're almost creating a culture that allows that to grow, if that makes sense. Because before the culture didn't really allow it to grow because we'd be supportive or we'd encourage it or we'd kind of tune those people out or our structures made it so they couldn't with our dates and times and stuff like that. I've thought a lot about this. With the year-round requirements of like club sports and high school coaches requiring training more in the off season, and now state rule changes. For example, Illinois move that dead week of football from August to right after the 4th of July. So after that week, they're going to go straight from that all the way to the end of the football season without a single break. And then they also moved the spring dates up too. So winter sports are getting screwed because if I just played a grueling football season, I may not want to play basketball. And if I'm a spring sport first kid, I may not want to play basketball because I want to be ready for my sport when it starts, or maybe you go on a playoff run and I miss 2 weeks of the season now instead of 0 or 1. I think we're creating the culture now that will allow that to grow, that fungus of specialization. And I think sports like soccer, I think sports like volleyball are going to become club giants. And it's going to be like, if you're in this sport, you play it year round. And soccer, that's how they get recruited. So they kind of have to. So I really believe that the thing that we're not going to see coming, it's going to hit us in the face like a brick, is going to be specialization to a high degree. Okay, guys, those are the 5 flags I was ready to plant. I've thought a lot about, I've talked to a lot of smart people about, I've consolidated it all, and those are my stances. So I hope you enjoyed it. Check out our website, www.v3content.org. I've got a book coming out this May on coaching and team culture that I'm crazy excited about. I'm going to be posting as we lead up to it some snippets from the book, some recommendations from high quality coaches that have read it, and I'm just really excited. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.